Okay, we are live, so let's begin. So the next set is only on discussion between the disciple and the guru. So first one is, what is jiva all about? Okay, I think the same confusion might be there with all of us. I think this shloka 192 might give us that kind of clarity. So he asked this question, Shishya Uvacha, Brahmena api anyatha va astu jiva bhavaha paratmanah tat upadehe anaditvat na anadehe nashah ishyate. So the disciple asked, is it through the delusion or otherwise? And what are those type in case if it is there? The paratmanah, that which enlivens, considers itself to be jiva bhavaha, to be the jivi. Tat upadihi, that kind of superimposition or one over the other. Anaditvat is beginningless. Na anadehe, that which is beginningless. Nashaha ishyate, how can it have an end? So he puts four logical questions. The question number one is, if the thing is beginningless, then it will also have endless. So it goes on forever. If a thing has a beginning, then also it must have an end. If a thing has no beginning, but nothing to do with beginningless, then it will also have no end. This means it never exists, so it can never lose its existence. The present shloka, what is being sought is, what is the category? Can a thing be beginningless and yet have an end? So this is the question which I think we all have. Did we exist in the past? If we existed in the past, as what we existed? If we are going to exist in the future, what will be we will be in the future? If we are existing now, what is that we are existing as? If something that is existing, it has a beginning, then we know something has an end. But if we existed in the past, which is beginningless, can there be a possibility of ending it? So there are three categories which we can see. One is Sat, existence itself, which is beginningless and endless. Vishaya, the jivi is the Vishaya, so that object, and that goes into transmigration. Asat, which is a non-existence, it has neither a beginning nor an end because it never existed in the first place. This shloka 192 is the most toughest in the second section what we are studying. So I don't know how far you all have got the clarity by now that we left Jagat long time ago. There was no Jagat. So we are also leaving the Jivi because we are in the Vijnanamaya Kosha. because GV equals Vijnanamaya Kosha. So when we are coming to an end of Vijnanamaya Kosha, there is no GV also, naturally. So Jagat is the person name that we left long time ago, but the GV is the person called as Vyaktitva or personality, or also the person's attributes, that also is not there. There's nothing to be attributed of, and it's all asat. That is, the rajas tamas sattva's interaction with Purusha is asat. So it never existed. It seemed to exist, but it doesn't exist. So any question on this? One thing we need to note is that there is nothing called as GV, as there is nothing called as Jagat also. Any confusion or any question? Or are you very clear?
No, this is about the question, right? You're asking. Shishya Uvacha.
Yes.
Yeah, that's correct. I think the way what he's asking is a question for anybody. Everything is anadi, then how is that possible? Anything beyond that?
Correct.
How moksha is possible? When it is anadi, it will be keep rotating.
Correct. So if there is no beginning, yet how can it end? That's a question. Okay, so since I have not heard anything from the other two, I understand that now it's very clear that there is no Jagat and there is no GV. So with that understanding, I'll go to 193. It talks about transmigration. Ataha asya jiva bhavaha api nitya bhavati samsritihi na nivartatet tat mokshaha katam me Shri Guru Vada. So the jiva of the self must also be endless. Jiva bhavaha, that which continues from one to another to another to another, at least that should be nitya bhavati samsritaha. That means till that consciousness does not let go that it is GV, this transmigration will be forever. Na nivarteta tat mokshaha, since it will not cease, what can the liberation mean? Katam me Shri Guru Vada, O revered Guru, please explain this to me. So from the 192nd verse, the student deduces both the jiva and the transmigration have to be beginningless. If that is the case, they both will be endless as well. If transmigration is endless, no matter what one does, there is no escape from the world of names and forms, which is the bondage. Then how can there be liberation? Now comes the Guru's reply. Shri Guru Vacha Samyak Prishtam Tvaya Vidwan Savadhanena Tat Shrunu Pramanike Na Bhavati Bhrantya Mohita Kalpana. So the Guru replies, Samyak Prishtam Tvaya Vidwan, O learned person, you have to put a proper question. This question is not proper. Savadhanena tat shrunu. Listen to it very carefully. Pramanikena bhavati. Never accept it as a fact. Bhrantya mohita kalpana. Anything that is conjured or created by an imagination. So 195 verse talks about Bhrantim vinatu asangasya nishkriyasya nirakritihi na gatitaha artha sambandhaha nabasha nilata divat. Without delusion and without an attachment, without activity and formless, such a person na ghateta artha sambandha. Ghata is the pot. How can there be a connection to the objective world? Nabhasaha nilata divat. Just as the sky has no connection with the blue, what is being shown. Swasya 196. Swasya drashtuhu nirgunasya akriyasya pratyag bandhana. Bodhanananda rupasya buddhehe bhrantya praptah jiva bhavaha na satyah moha apaye na asti avastu svabhavat. So swasya drashtuhu, the witnessing ability of the self, nirgunasya akriyasya, is also beyond all qualities and also is actionless. Pratyag bodhanananda rupasya, it is of the nature of inner bliss and knowledge. Buddhehe bhrantya praptah, but through a delusion produced by the intellect. Jiva bhavaha na satyah, it is experienced as jivahood and not as reality. Moha apaye na asti avastu svabhava. When the delusion is lifted, so too is individuality, since by nature individuality is always unreal. So I'll stop here just to give you clarity on what it is. As long as we call ourselves as an individual, trying to find ourselves in the way out, there is nothing called as a way out. It makes even more delusions possible. So just to cite an example, if I see someone and immediately I start recognizing that person to be whatever, or I start recognizing to be the person, or I start recognizing it to be an object, or I start intellectualizing to see what that object is, then I am in samsara. While the object comes in the front, I don't recognize it at all, but yet interact with that object as though it is nothing to do with me. Then liberation is possible. In the first case, there is an individuality because I feel I saw that object, and that object is a human, and that human object is known to me or not known to me. If I don't know it, I want to know it. If it's already known to me, then comes the identification that this is my friend or an enemy or a wife or a husband or a child or a home or this or that or whatever it is. If there is no identification at all, so what should be seen is nothing. The person never came at all. Can that be done? That is jiva. So my question is, can this be done? Or do you want to time to think?
No, what exactly you are telling? Can this means
from now onwards, can you stop recognizing anyone at all?
Okay, you are telling when illusion is there, you think that as illusion only.
Yes. No, not illusion. There is nothing called a jiva at all. Whoever comes in front of you is nothing. Can that be practiced?
So that is not jiva.
Nothing. There is no jiva. Only intellect is called as jiva.
So there is nothing called jiva.
No.
So we are supposed to transcend jiva also.
Yes, and get into Ishvara. Next is Ishvara in Anandamaya Kosha.
Correct. Earlier you gave that thing, right? You're sitting in one room,
Yes,
and then you close your eyes, and then the Jagat is gone. Then only Jivi is there.
correct.
So that is the intellect sheath. Till there we reach with that.
Yes,
So now we are transcending. We are trying to transcend that one also.
correct.
And that is more. That is for me. I think it's the toughest one to do that.
Yeah,
So because when you come, somebody else comes, maybe I can see that as a GV, and then seeing that as nobody, maybe at this point of time it is tough for me.
correct. So he says that buddhehe brantya praptah jiva bhavah na satyah moha apayena asti avastu swabhavat. Only when this delusion is lifted, then only the individuality by its nature is removed. Otherwise, the individuality exists.
Yeah, correct.
So that ends where we are. So Anandamaya Kosha can never be experienced.
Yeah, so correct. So this is where that you have to transcend that I
Yes, you have to remove that I.
and mine. Yes.
So the mana has to be removed.
Mm.
So in Kannada we have two words which says ninige mana maryadi ilva. So both have to be removed. There is nothing called mana, vanity. Maryade means the societal norms.
Yeah. So that's the same words in Malayalam also. Same word sentence we use in Malayalam also.
So both have to be removed.
Yes.
In 196th verse. Otherwise, that is what is called as avidya, which is maya.
Now we are touching avidya, real avidya.
So, if somebody walks nude or somebody is clothed, it is the same. If somebody has hairs or doesn't have hair, is the same. Somebody is intelligent or not intelligent is the same, because there is no somebody at all. It is only you split up into 1,000 parts.
Yeah, so in other ways, you should be able to see yourself in others.
Exactly. So your intellect has to be stopped. From here onwards, there is no intellect. So there is nothing to reason out. So GV means intellect, nothing else. Okay. If not, so now he says 197 verse. What is delusion? Yavat bhrantihi tavateva asya satta mithya ajnana ujirmbhihi tasya pramadat rajvam sarpah bhranti kalena eva भ्रांतेः नाशे न एव सर्पः अपि तद्वत् यावत् भ्रान्तिः तावत् तेव अस्य सत्ता. Satta means myself, my very self. It's an error of judgment. There is no self, including Atma, that doesn't exist. So first thing we are going to now remove is Atma Anatma theory. So there is no concept of Atma. The delusion creates the Jiva, and Jiva has an Atma. And when the delusion is gone, there is no Jiva, and hence that self is also gone. And it is caused by mithya, that is illusion creation. Ajnana is ignorance. Ujrimbihitasya pramadat. Pramada is inadvertence or not to heed warning signs, but just go with a kind of propagation that I exist. Just like the rope is mistaken for a snake only when there is an illusion is present. Once the illusion is destroyed, there can be no snake. So too is this case. So till the intellect is there, it will never allow the original self, which is there in everyone, to be shown, because it creates that individuality feeling that I am that person. So this delusion causes the Jivi to feel that there is a person, because there is a Jivi, so there is a person. And if there is a person, then Raga, Dvesha, Moha is going to be there for that person only. And because Raga, Dvesha, Moha is there, then that Punya, Papa concept is going to come. And because of that concept of Punya and Papa, again it's a concept, it's not reality. Everything is a delusion, including Papa and Punya. Including going to a temple is a delusion. There is no temple or church or mosque or anything. The only faith you can have, if at all you can have, is on the universal self, not an individual self. So that being the case, there is nothing like you are doing or I am doing or this person is doing or that is being done or all that. That doesn't exist. But till that is not there, this Jivi is able to transmigrate into different existences as though it is Atma and it is going from one to another. So the whole difference between the Dvaita Siddhanta and Advaita is, in the Advaita there is no concept of an Atma other than the true self. In the Dvaita Siddhanta, the Atma is different and Paramatma is different. They both don't merge at all. There's nothing called merging point. And Avidya as a solution is there in, or removal of Avidya is there in the Advaita Siddhanta, whereas in the Dvaita Siddhanta the Avidya doesn't exist, it is only Taratamya, and because of Taratamya only God can help. That being cannot help itself at all. So in 198th verse, that becomes very clear. Anaditvam avidyayah karyasya api tatah ishyate utpannayam tu vidyayam avidyakam anadi api. Beginningless is the avidya. Karyasya api tataha ishyate. That means the effect of avidya is also beginningless. Utpannayam tu vidyayam. But when there is a rise of vidya, avidyayakam anadi api. Avidya is destroyed even though it started with beginningless. So to cite an example, he says, Prabhode swapnavat sarvam sahamulam vinashyati anadi api idam na u nityam prag abhava ivasputam. On waking up, the entire dream along with its root is destroyed. So too in this phenomenal world of names and forms, even though it is beginningless, it is not eternal. And because of that, form for non-existence proves it. Yes. Yeah, but go ahead.
So avidya, it is anadi, but actually when you get the jnanam, it dies there.
Yes.
Which means it is not anadi. Correct?
Yes. It seems to be anadi.
But actually it is not.
It's not.
Avidya. But vidya and jnanam, that is anadi.
Now this is the problem.
Yeah.
If you make vidya as anadi, then avidya is also anadi.
Ah.
So the question is not on whether vidya became anadi or avidya became anadi. Both are delusion. You are removing the delusion, you are removing the thorn through a thorn. That's all.
So vidya is also anadi. Avidya is not anadi now because it dies after some time. So vidya also something very similar.
Vidya will open up what was covered. That's all. See, I'll give you an example. By error, I call this building as my home. That is avidya. What is vidya? Vidya is, it is coming out of mud. That is vidya. So there was no home in the first place.
Both are illusions. Mind.
Yes, both exist in the mind only.
Okay. Vidya and avidya both are not really
what we
satya.
are, yes, no, it's not like that.
They are mithya.
To remove the mithya, you have to have vidya, that's all. It's nothing to do with whether vidya becomes mithya or avidya is mithya and all that. That is again intellectual. You have to.
So vidya is intellectual, correct?
Vidya is not intellectual. Vidya is seeing things as they are without intellect.
Vidya is above intellect.
Yes, above intellect means
And it is a different altogether. Nothing to do with the intellect. It removes the intellect.
It removes the intellect. So now let us take another example. Now you see a tree. Okay. Is there a tree?
Actually, no.
No.
In reality, no. It's only illusion.
No, that's not true. It is in reality is only mud. But it is seen as a tree.
Okay. That's correct.
So when you see the mud, when you see the mud, is there a life in the mud?
Okay, when you say it is a mud, stula, correct.
Yes,
You can
stula.
use that way.
Yeah, it's true.
Stula is called mud. Yeah.
Okay. Now when you see the mud, is there a life in the mud?
Mud is actually anadi.
No. Is there a life in the mud?
There is nothing called life attached to this mud. It will be there, it was there, it will be there.
No. Is there a life in the mud?
No.
The real answer is yes. There is life in the mud.
Oh.
Because all the five bhutas are joined together by that universal energy. So if the bija were to come, then the same mud will help it to grow into a tree. So
But our understanding, Mula Prakriti, right? Mula Prakriti is there. And it will go to potential form and come back.
wait for a second.
Avyakta and Vyakta.
No, wait for a second. Now, how do you solve both anadis into one being real and another being not real? That's a question. If you use intellect, then you cannot see that at all. You will always see it as Dvaita. That is why Madhvacharya says, Jagat Satya Brahman Satya. Unless you drop the intellect, meaning not use the intellect at all, and see things as they are, what you see then is the consciousness appears only when there is a reason. Otherwise it doesn't. This is the experience you need to have in order to break the intellect boundary. So this is the practice what one need to do in everything. Otherwise the intellect will create another illusion of understanding, and I say I understand. That itself is an illusion. Okay, so there are no shlokas in relation to how the avidya can be removed. This is a practice. So this can be removed only through vairagya, not through any other thing. So if there's no vairagya at present in me, then it cannot be removed. No matter how much I learn this subject, I will be learning it very well. I will also understand. Absolutely fair. And I can recite it very well also. And I can explain it even more well than any other person. But still it is intellect sheath only.
Yes.
So I am stuck in intellect. Simple. It will not allow. Intellect is so subtle.
Intellect is only vyavahar. Correct.
Yes. So intellect is so subtle that it will not allow the experience, because now there is no mind. There is only intellect which is left. And intellect itself is I. So it will never allow anything to come in its way.
So through intellect you cannot analyze.
Yes. You cannot analyze anything through intellect.
It's like a red glass. You can see everything red.
Yes. If you put green, you will start seeing green.
Yes. That's right. Existence itself is intellect.
Existing itself is intellect. So that's the reason he gives this as a dream die upon waking. Waking is 199th verse, where he says that just like you cannot take the dream to be true, you cannot take this life to be true. Whatever you are seeing is untrue. Okay, so we have to stop there, because we are going above the intellect itself. So now the 200th verse talks about killing the jiva. Anaderapi vidvamsaha prag abhavasya vikshitaha yat buddhi upadhi sambandhat parikalpitam atmani. Although it may be beginningless and end in former non-existence, has been discovered. So it is with Jiva, due to its contact with intellect, it is only falsely superimposed upon the real self, and hence right now I am coming out of the Jiva view. There is nothing called a Jiva. So 201 says that Jivatvam na tatah anyatah tu sarva rupena vilakshanaha sambandha tu atmanah buddhya mithya jnana puraharshaha. But the other self, the original self, is not like the Jivahood. It is intrinsically different from it. Indeed, because of its relationship with the little self created by the intellect, due to false knowledge which was created by delusion. So, first category is Sat, that is unchanging, indestructible, and it's not me, because it exists everywhere. Vishaya, because it has birth and death, so Jivi goes through birth and death cycle. Asat, that Jivi never existed in the first place, and hence it is beginningless. Once this is seen, the Mithya is seen, the Jivi is dead. So there is no Jivi. So with Vidya, vinivrittihi bhavet tasya samyak jnanena na anyatha brahma atma ekatva vijnanam samyog jnanam shrutehe matam. It's that Jiva's termination when it occurs. Then the right knowledge appears. This realization of identity of Brahman and self is the right knowledge. The Shrutis are very clear on this. The false knowledge is the Jiva, the right knowledge is no Jiva. So Jagat is gone, Jivi is gone in 201. So the discrimination here is tatatma anatmanoh samyag vivekena eva siddhyati tatah vivekah kartavyah pratyagatma sad atmanoh. Regarding whatever has been said so far, that is realization of the identity between the self and the non-self, the right discrimination between these two has been done, and that alone creates the realization. Hence, it is one's duty to discriminate thoroughly between the inner self, which is the Jiva, and Brahman. So, Mithya, when it is created, from Vidya it turns into Avidya, then becomes delusion. Delusion creates Jivahood, and because of the Jiva, there is transmigration from one to another. Because of discrimination, there is purification, and because there is purification, there is negation of both Jiva and Jagat, and hence Vidya. So there is no birth and death, and hence no transmigration. With that, we come to the purification. Jalam pankavat atyantam panka apye jalam sputham yatha bhati tatah atma api doshah abhave sputah prabha. Consider water which is extremely muddy. When the mud is removed, it appears clear. Even so, the same with the inner self Jiva. When impurities are absent, its luster is visible. Asat nivrittau tu sadatmanah sputam. Yes, but
In 2002, it says Jivatma and Paramatma, this Abheda Jnana, Samyak Jnana. Can you just explain about Samyak Jnana and Abheda Jnana? Two words are there.
So Samyak
Jivatma, Paramatma, between this Abheda Jnana, that itself is Samyak Jnana. So I don't know what's Abheda here.
no vinivritti, that one only, right?
Yeah, 202.
So vinivritti bhavet tasya samyak jnanena na anyatha. That is a right knowledge. Brahma Atma Ekatva Vijnanam. That is realization that there is no Atma, but it is Brahman, which is shown like that. It is shining in everything. That is the Samyak Jnanam. That is the right knowledge.
Samyak means right knowledge.
Yeah. Samyak is, both says Samyak means right, correct. Or
That is Jivatma and Paramatma, between these two. So Paramatma is Brahman here, Jivatma is
an illusion. There was no
illusion.
So there was no Jiva Atma in the first place.
Jiva is different, Atma is different. There is nothing called Jivatma, right?
No. The illusion created by the intellect gives the flavor of Atma because of the reflection of the consciousness, which is Sat. Now when you remove the intellect, that Atma identification is also gone. So so in the verse number 200, we kill the Jiva.
Correct.
So now that Atma is also gone along with the Jiva. So now we have got the right. Right means proper knowledge. The proper knowledge has come. So Samyak Jnanena Anyatha, that is, this one you will never understand without the proper knowledge. Proper knowledge means we need to know how to remove the Jivi and the Jagat, both. As long as the intellect remains, it will create the Jivi forever. That is the reason.
Intellect means Jivi, and Jivi will identify Jagat.
Yes, Jivi will keep on identifying Jagat. It will never allow that to stop.
So Jivi is living on Jagat.
Absolutely. So first you have to negate the Jagat. Okay.
And then there is no food for Jivi.
Then there is no food for Jivi. Without food, Jivi cannot stay. So you kill the Jivi. Then what you see is only Ishvara.
Then only Ishvara. Yeah, that's perfect logic. Kill Jagat by closing all your 5
senses.
Jnanendriyas and also mind. Remove.
Now what happens, as explained by Krishna in the 15th chapter, Mana Indriya, 6th one, that doesn't have any food. Without food, Manas is not there. Now only intellect remains. You remove the intellect, then the Jivi is also gone. Now you are Ishvara.
Yeah, I think it's clear logic.
And that is the reason.
Remove Jagat, remove mind, finally remove intellect.
Yes. So
removing intellect, I myself is intellect.
Yes. So there is no I.
Removing intellect means I should travel above intellect.
No, there is no I. There is nothing like I am traveling above intellect. There is no I.
Yeah, correct. See, here the question is that I part should be removed. By whom? By I.
No. By Vidya, you will come to know that there is no I. There was no I in the first place.
No. Who is the knower here? Because the intellect is the only remaining. Mind is gone so far.
That's correct.
There is only intellect called I. That how is that Vidya will act on intellect to remove intellect?
Now
where is that Vidya residing?
No, in the language we cannot use it at all.
Okay, it is experiential. Okay.
Because now I can't say how I will be removed with I.
Yeah, I got it. It's experiential. Got it.
Yeah.
I thought there's some justification for this using this Vivekachudamani.
No. That is the reason he says snake and the thread or the rope.
Yes.
Both are illusion. Once
Yes.
you remove the snake, there was no rope also in the first place.
Yeah,
Okay. So 205.
right.
असत् निवृत्तौ तु सदात्मनः स्फुटं प्रतीतिः एतस्य भवेत् प्रतीतः ततः निराशः कारणेय एव सदात्मनः साधु अहम् आदि वस्तुनः. So when the unreal ceases to exist, then the eternal self, sadatmanah sputam, shines together. Because now there is no I, the intellect is gone. Pratitihi etasya bhavet pratityaha is seen in the place of the gross individual self. Now it is replaced. The gross individual self is gone, is replaced by Vidya, this universal consciousness. Tataha nirasaha karaneya eva. Therefore, the negation should certainly be done. Sadatmanah sadhu, from the eternal self as thoroughly as possible. Aham adi vastunah, that is what created this language of I, mine, me, yours, this, that, which is part of the four things, which is Mano, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chitta. All the four are not real. They are created due to presence of the consciousness, not otherwise. And hence, as a conclusion, Ataha na ayam paratma syat vijnanamayasya shabda bhak vikaritavat jadavatcha parichinnatva hetuhu drishyatvat vyabhicharitvat na anityah nityah ishyate. Therefore, that supreme self cannot be in that small little thing called as intellect kosha. For spoken of, so far we have spoken of, the reasons are vikaritavat, because it is subject to change, jadavat, it is inert and insentient, parichinatvaha hetuhu, for the reason that it is limited, it cannot go beyond that person, drishyatvat, because it is object of the senses. Now this is a beautiful word in Sanskrit called vyabhichara, prostitution. This intellect is like a prostitute. It keeps on going into this and that and this and that, creating names and forms. And hence it is not something to be kept. Na anityah nityah ishyate. Conclusion: no mortal can be said to be immortal. and hence Vijnanamaya Kosha cannot be treated as immortal. It is also mortal. Hence, it has to be dropped. How do we know about Vyabhicharini? Vyabhichara means other than. Just like a person being a prostitute, which is other than. Because it is not available in deep sleep, so nobody knows. And in the waking state, it is filled with wrong ideas. And it is perverted in the dream. It keeps on producing one experience after the other. And is a waste product as such. So has to be dropped because it is anitya. It is not eternal. So I think Bhatt has dropped off.
Yeah, correct. Mean some net issues.
Maybe net issue. So with that we end Manana also.
Yeah.
So we finish Ravana, then we finish.
Yeah. Without intellect, there is no manana possible, right?
Yes. Shall we wait for Bhatt or? There he comes.
I got disconnected, I don't know.
No worries. That's the reason we waited for you. So, since this intellect keeps on prostituting every now and then with everything, and then in the waking state, it creates unnecessary passions. In the in the dream state, it is perverted. In the deep sleep state, it is absent. And hence it is jada, so it has to be dropped. If we keep intellect, you will get transmigration. So if you don't want transmigration into another living, you have to drop the intellect along with its other counterpart called as manas. So mano, buddhi, chitta, ahankara, naham. All the four are to be removed through sadhana. So we have finished manana. So what did we do?
Shravana, Manana.
Both are done.
Oh, Shravana is that initially, the first one.
Yes. And with this Vijnanamaya Kosha not being there, there is no manana anymore.
When you have mana, you can do manana, right?
Correct. When there is no mana, what will you do?
Yeah.
So build up. So you're building up what and removing what? You built up discrimination, viveka. Then we did purification, which is we created the Shruti into it. Then negation, what is asti and what is nasti, that created vidya, and because of that avidya is removed. And when avidya is removed, there is no delusion, moha, and the moha was on the jiva. The jiva is also not being there. Transmigration, punarjanma is not possible.
When jiva is not there, then there is no, jiva got moksha, correct.
Right now, we all four are in moksha.
Moksha samrajya siddhyartha.
Yes. So dharma, artha, kama, fourth one moksha. So you got it at 9:24 a.m. on 6th of September 2021.
ಧರ್ಮಾರ್ಥ ಕಾಮ ಮೋಕ್ಷ ಸಿದ್ಧರ್ಥಂ ಅಚಂಚಲ ಭಕ್ತಿ ಸಿದ್ಧರ್ಥಂ.
Yes, so we have finished our journey. Now we are
Intellectually we can
no, there is
say
no
that we are
intellect.
realized.
No,
Intellectual.
there is no intellect anymore. We don't have any intellect anymore.
So intellect got moksha.
Yes, the GV got moksha.
The moment you intellect is in moksha, GV is also in moksha.
There's no GV. GV equals to intellect only, right?
Oh, GV, okay. Ultimate, this thing is intellect. Okay.
So from today, or from 9:22 or 9:24 a.m., none of four of us don't have intellect any longer. So there's nothing called logical reasoning or any reasoning or anything possible.
So all our dealings through heart only. There is no mind. There is no mind.
There is no mind, there is no intellect. Mano, Buddhi, Ahankara, all the three are gone. We are going to come to Chitta, which is Anandamaya Kosha. So three things are gone. Mano, Buddhi, Ahankara. So tomorrow we are all in Chitta.
Tomorrow?
We are all in Chitta, I said. Chitta.
Chitta. That means only Hridaya. You will be from Hridaya.
And that also will remove it tomorrow.
It's like peeling the onions, right? So you open,
Yes.
and you don't find anything inside.
There's nothing inside.
That is Purnatva.
Okay, so nice. So congratulations. You have just now got moksha. So here is the certificate of merit.
Yeah, the moment you get certificate, we came back to intellect.
Exactly.
Now onwards, Vilas, we will not have any questions because we have no mind.
Yes.
I know intellect.
And no
If you have
intellect.
mind, you will say you are in intellect. So I am supposed to be silent next time.
No, you can't be silent. So we all will be asking questions and will be enjoying. Till we experience it ourselves, the questions are going to be there.
Yeah. I think that naturally the questions will bubble up.
Yeah. So
Yeah, more the deeper questions will come. What happened to that? Which is not visible.
yes.
It is there, but it is not visible. But one thing is true. See, during this weekend, I have gone through a lot of ups and downs in my mind. A lot, extreme. But I could see that, watch that. And generally, I also become emotional along with that. But here, I was just watching and I was smiling at that.
Good.
That change is because of this Vivekachudamani.
Yeah. It will definitely transform.
Yeah.
So you created a gap between you and your mind.
Yes, correct.
Okay. We'll meet tomorrow then.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Vilas.
Yeah, sure. Bye.